So guys, many Nigerians are in shock after Tinubu and other APC leadership, they've all been silent after the attempted assassination attempt on Peter Obi's life. Guys, it is very, very shocking that politics in Nigeria is taking too far. Guess what? The ruling party members, even from the presidency to the list of them, none of them have come out to condemn the attempted assassination on Peter Obi's life. Even the Igbo leaders, people like Omar Hidem in the APC, Hope Uzodinma, Soludo is supporting Tinubu, and the rest of them, the one we through all those APC Igbo leadership, none of them have come out to condemn this attempt to take away Peter Obi's life, guys. And they think this is politics. God, this is not politics. APC is taking politics too far in Nigeria. Now, you must have heard that somebody came out saying that Peter Obi narrowly escaped that of Edo State, that they are going to target him in Rivers State because Peter Obi will be going to Rivers State, and they said they are not going to miss their target. Now, even Linda Ikeji captured it, and this is what Linda Ikeji wrote. I said, I heard he's coming to my Rivers State. My men will handle him, will handle that, and they don't miss their target. Rivers State indigent allegedly threatened the safety of Peter Obi following the recent shooting incident in Edo State during an ADC meeting, suggesting the attack was not effective since Obi was not harmed. And this was what the person tweeted, which I showed you in my last video. This guy here said, we want Obi against his entrance into Edo State, but he mistook our resolve to his obedience online noise. Thank his star, he survived this one. I learned he's going to my River State. Now wahala, now my men go handle that one, and they know they miss target. Speak no peace to a bastard and wish him no long life, for he is destined to die. Guys, this person said, don't speak peace to a bastard, referring to Peter Obi as bastard, and don't wish him long life because Peter Obi is in opposition, guys, that he is destined to die. He said his men are going to handle that one, that they don't miss their target, guys. Unbelievable that in a country like this, the Tinubu's government went silent. Even as an individual, Tinubu is silent because Peter Obi has suddenly become an enemy to Nigerian politicians because he's an opposition and he's organically loved by the people. Hey, God. So, guys, the one that pains me the most is Igbo leaders, Igbo politicians. They are so cheap. So cheap. David Omai them, Hope Uzodinma them, we through them, Soludo them, all those of them that say, oh, they are now even Peter Mba of Enugu State, the one that people thought, okay, let's say he has more exposure, you know, and has more sense. But look at him, since he joined the APC, he's now misbehaving. Guys, this is unbelievable. Now Nigerians are saying that how come politics is taking this too far in Nigeria? Because of, you know, people want to remain in power. They are wishing opposition dead. So guys, Peter Obi's life is in danger, but hopefully God is going to save him. Nigeria is a place where if somebody dies, there will be roar, there will be people will talk. 1 week is everybody has been forgotten. But I pray that God will save Peter Obi's life. Also, Nigerians have uncovered the face of the person behind the tweet threatening Peter Obi's life. This is the person, like you can see his face here, and his name is also attached there, Engineer Tom Steve. And this person here tweeted, says Udeme Steven is the man behind this account. That's the account that threatens Peter Obi's life, guys. This is unbelievable. Now this person here reacted saying, fact is, the police or so-called authorities will never arrest anyone threatening to kill Peter Obi, even if they are taken to his doorstep and they see him coming out the door, they will turn a blind eye. But if he were Igbo threatening Tinubu's life, you all know the rest, guys. This is what this person tweeted, and that is exactly what it is. Can you imagine if an Igbo man comes out and says Tinubu is not going to survive, that if Tinubu enters Imo State or Enugu State, that they are going to make sure he does not come out alive? You can imagine if somebody threatens Tinubu's life that way. The DSS would have sworn into action. But now it's coming from Peter Obi. And these guys, even if you take this guy to their doorstep, that they are not ready to arrest him. This is what we are seeing in Nigeria. We must all condemn this. So guys, before we get into the video I've got for you, see what this person here tweeted. He said, ex-US President Joe Biden and many opposition members condemned the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, regardless of political party differences. Of course, Bola Tinubu's silence on the attack against Peter Obi in Edo State must be that bold new leadership strategy where saying nothing already say it all. Guys, this is what Nigerians are saying, that Tinubu's silence means a lot. For keeping silent after the assassination attempt on Peter Obi. Now, see this headline here. It says, Harris, deeply disturbed by possible assassination attempt. I condemn political violence. You know, these are reactions that came after Donald Trump was, you know, suffered that bullet that pierced through one of his ears, you know, in the last election. But in Nigeria, Peter Obi almost lost his life, and the APC from top to bottom, they are all silent because they want to rig election. They want to be in power, but they don't even know how to win the hearts of Nigerians. As simple as, you know, coming out to condemn this thing, Nigerians will know that they are humans, but you can see they don't even have conscience, guys. Person here reacted saying, imagine Peter Obi becomes president and was running a government that looks like this: President Igbo, Chief Justice Igbo, EFCC Igbo, DSS Igbo, IGP Igbo, Attorney General Igbo, Chief of Army Staff Igbo, CBN Igbo, Federal Inland Revenue Igbo, INEC Igbo. Nigeria will be on fire. Guys, this is what how this person reacted to this. Now let me know what you think about all this.
When Nick, the younger brother to the Prime Minister of UK, Keir Starmer, died, Kemi Badenoch had to send him condolence message. Regardless of their political party differences, regardless of the fact that they are opposition, when there was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, even Joe Biden, who was the then president, condemned it. Kamala Harris, who was the presidential candidate of the Democratic Party, condemned it. Even Barack Obama condemned it. Because all the people in power today were once in opposition yesterday. Imagine when Goodluck Jonathan was in power. Imagine there was an assassination attempt on Muhammadu Buhari during the time that the current president, Bola Tinubu, teamed up with every other person, Rotimi Amechi and El-Rufai. They wanted to deliver Buhari at all costs. Imagine there was an assassination attempt on the life of Buhari. Imagine how APC would have seen it. After the attempt yesterday to kill Peter Obi in Edo State, I have been looking at media platforms, especially the one that belongs to the political forces, people like Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Bayo Onanuga, who is the presidential spokesperson, the governor of Edo State. Nobody seems to have said anything about it. Now, this is not about P2B. This is about humanity. Beyond your political party differences, you must respect the fact that P2B is an elder statesman as far as Nigeria is concerned. Even if you think you win him during election, before political party and desire to become president, Obi is first of all a Nigerian. And it is the responsibility of the government to protect the life of the people. So when such attack happens, it's expected at least that the president should condemn it. It is expected that the governor of Edo State, Mondo Kwebolo, should condemn it. I'm not surprised because in Nigeria today, politics is characterized by grab it and run. It's a campaign of wickedness. Anything at all to eliminate opposition is okay. But it's very wrong. This is not a political party problem. This is wickedness and personality. This goes to show the person the president is and the person that the governor of Edo State is. Even the wife of the president, who is a pastor, could not even condemn it. Everybody is just keeping mute because it's happening to opposition. That is how not to be a government. That is how not to lead the people. Before politics, before leadership, we were all human.
Joining us this morning is Edo-based rights activist Precious Oruche, popularly known as Mama P. Good morning and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning and thanks for the invite.
All right, it's your state, unfortunately, that we're seeing these things happening. You've advocated against poor governance in the past and you continue to do so, not just at the national level, at the state level, but also at the national level. But looking at the attacks against the ADC, we did play the video of the warning that the governor had given to Peter Obi many months back, and many are drawing a connection to that. But the government has said that they have no hand in this and that there's an internal crisis within the ADC. What do you make of the governor's statement?
Good morning, everybody. I say it without fear that the government lied. The governor is lying. I mean, the governor of Edo State, Monde Ukpebolo, is lying. And we are no fools. You know, even the viewers watching, the citizens of the state, we all know what happened that day at Governor Oyegun's house. What happened at the ADC Secretariat. The governor coming to play innocent is just funny. But it's good to know that they are scared, of admitting the truth, which is that they probably sent thugs. I'm not saying they sent because there's no hard evidence. Yeah, they probably sent thugs to the ADC Secretariat and Oyegun's house to attack Peter Obi and the ADC members. So I would just leave it there by saying that the government lied, the governor lied, but it's fine. We all know what happened.
Just to clarify, because we don't want to make any insinuations that would lead to something we're not sure of. You're not yes. Are you categorically saying that the government sent thugs to attack the ADC?
That's why I said probably, because if you watch the video you just played, showed a direct threat on Obi's life. The governor said it with his mouth that he cannot guarantee Obi's security if he visits the state without telling him. He said it. In fact, he had lied as at then that when Obi visited, 3 people died. his commissioner for information, Afebwa, came on air to affirm that 3 people died anti-date. They were unable to provide bodies. It's just a sham on democracy. This is a shame on Edo State. And I'm so embarrassed to be, from or based in that state. The government is lying to the camera, but like I said, it's fine. You know what happened. I know what happened. The citizens of Nigeria know what happened on that very day. I'm not saying they sent thugs. I'm saying they probably sent thugs. In fact, if the DSS was functional, the first person to arrest is the governor. The first person to be questioned is the governor. The first person to be invited is the governor. But we are Nigeria, and so this is it.
Thank you, Precious. Fortunately or unfortunately, governors enjoy immunity in Nigeria, according to the 1999 Constitution. But let's talk about the area where these things happen, the ADC Secretariat and former Governor Oyegun's house. Is it close to any security formation?
In the heart of Benin.
It's very worrying.
In the heart of Benin, just beside government house. Also beside the police state CID. You do not understand.
I'm glad you mentioned this because it's worrying.
That Oyegun's house is in the heart of Benin, where it happened, where there was a shootout.
So I'm very happy you mentioned this because it's worrying that politically exposed persons in the person of Peter Obi and all the others would be exposed to a level of violence. You have shooting, and there was no security operative in sight to, calm the situation or apprehend those responsible for it.
It looks like an organized attack. And I'm saying this without fear or favor. It looks like an organized attack. In fact, if I was to make statements, I would say that probably the security agencies were aware of what happened that very day. Because you can't tell me that thugs were riding on bikes. Bikes have been banned in Benin. Y'all don't understand what's going on. Bikes have been banned in Benin. So how did they drive through on bikes? I have a clip of them on bikes shooting. How did they drive through? How come nobody stops them? We have barricades in front of the DSS office. In fact, the EFCC office is there. The police state CID is there. We were in the center and this happened.
Okay, let's put that graphics on the screen for clarity, especially for our viewers. Okay, let's see if we can have that graphics on the screen there. So what we have here is the DSS office is not far off from the ADC Secretariat. They say it's approximately 5 to 10 minutes drive on Sapele Road, Benin. You've also mentioned that bikes have been abolished, if you use that word. And then the proximity there shows that roughly, if there was any attack, like we know there was, the police should be able to get there on time. Can you confirm to us once again that this ADC Secretariat is in a secured environment?
Yes.
So, being in a secured environment...
And apart from even ADC, apart from the ADC Secretariat, the former governor's house, John Odige Oyegun, is in the midst. I wish you could put it up on the screen. It's in the midst of it. It's even closer to these agencies that I've mentioned. Listen, I'm going to say once, I'm going to say again, the government of the day knows what happened on that very day. The security agencies knows what happened on that very day. It's just unfortunate that they've chosen not to do anything. Like I said, it's like orchestrated. It was all planned between them, probably, and the talks.
But is this also a sentiment that the majority of the citizens in Edo State uphold? What's the general sense? What are they saying? Are they speaking about it as much?
The Edolites I know are very angry. They are very offended. I think one thing... I'll say one thing here. Edo people are not people you can intimidate. In fact, they cannot even stand you intimidating someone else. And I fear that soon they may arise and resist this governor. I fear that very soon the Edo people will stand up, because you don't tell them what to choose. You don't tell them who to like. They do what they please. They do what is right. They're going to be watching you as though they don't know what you are doing. Like an adage in the Edo language, it says, we don't plan together, but we think alike. Soon they are just all going to react. And that's where I fear this is going to. I tell you for a fact, the Edo people are so displeased, they are embarrassed, and very soon they are going to react to what the governor is doing. This is a slap on democracy.
All right. Earlier on, we spoke to a member of the All Progressives Congress. He is a former chairman, Cross River State, Mr. Alphonsus Iba. And he talked very clearly on why the FCT minister had to visit the polls. I am aware that you were fully active. Let me use that language, the Gen Z language. You were fully active at the just concluded by-elections up until the wee hours of the night. You were following, especially at this, the room, ensuring that the votes were well counted, and then you encountered some challenges. But let's play a quick response when we asked the APC member this morning why the FCT minister was touring the polls. And we'll come back to ask you what you actually saw, especially at the just concluded by-elections, and your scorecard. Well, while we try to get that video ready, let me just first of all ask you what your take is, your scorecard, especially on the just concluded by-elections.
The elections that happened in Abuja, I was there. The APC rigged the election. They rigged the election. 1 minute we were winning, ADC was topping it. ADC gave them a goose chase. The next minute we slept and woke up, and just like 2023 elections, they had won. I think now that it's deliberate that INEC and its cohort push collation, delay collation till midnight, where everybody is tired. What they do is they delay it to the depth of the night where you are tired and you are seeing bad boys coming. I was at one of the collation centers, and I know the amount of bad boys that suddenly started coming in. The elections were rigged. I was so embarrassed seeing the minister, Nyesom Wike, come on air to say that the election was good. I don't know if they don't know that the world is watching and probably laughing at us. An election that only 7% voted was good. If you send your child to school and he comes back with 7% over 100, you are going to clap. These guys deserve to be flushed out of our system. These guys are a menace. They are a decay in the system. Trust me when I say that the FCT elections were rigged. We are even aware that an ADC supporter was stabbed to death. I don't know if you are aware, but it didn't make it to the news because it was not an APC person. We can't continue like this. That's what I want Nigerians and the APC to know. And very soon, just very soon, Nigerians might begin to arise and oppose this dictatorship. You can't say no movement, and you that is supposed to be a symbol of example started moving around. First of all, why was there no movement? Why was there no movement? How were people supposed to get to their polling units? It was all orchestrated. In fact, I attended an event where a cardinal was saying that he was stopped twice by the police. And then he asked the police, if you say there's no movement, I'm going to vote. This is my voter's card. How am I supposed to get to the voter's card? And the policeman said, okay, since you be pastor, they go. How? Why? This country is going into coma. And I hope we realize this on time. So finally, the election was rigged. I wouldn't know if the candidates would want to challenge in court because the judiciary now is looking like an arm of the government. So I wouldn't know if anybody wants to explore that option, but let's get it clear. The election that happened in Amak on Saturday in Abuja was rigged.
So what do you expect, judging from all that you've seen and you've been active as a civil, observer?
I expect the people to rise up.
No, I'm
Anybody
asking
that knows me.
for 2027 elections, do you have faith?
Oh yes, I have faith that the people will rise up and chase their oppressors. Yes, I'm an advocate for aura. Match their madness. Or the only thing that can cure these people's madness is the people's madness. That's the only thing. Dialogue would not work. And please, if you are listening to this, listen clearly. Dialogue would not work. It's not enough to vote. Vote and defend your vote. things that these people cannot rig is massive voting. They can't rig when the people come outside to vote. They cannot rig when the people come out to vote and defend their vote. So the thing we did 2023 is not going to repeat 2027. We are going to come out en masse and vote and sit down till Amupita is done counting the results. So that is what is going to happen. So I'm charging Nigerians to stand up to vote and defend their votes, because if their votes were not important, these people would not be restless. You would not see probably the government of Edo State trying to kill a political opposition. Yes, they know what is at stake. They know they are about losing 2027, and that's why they are restless. So the people must continue to insist as much as they resist.
All right, just before, our final question.
Talking about the governor of Edo State, I want to send a message to him.
Okay.
I remember the other day, just 2024 here, that he came with the then Deputy Governor Philip Shuaibu to Edo State. You know, as at that time, the then Deputy Governor was embattled, and court had just granted him judgment in his favor that he was the rightful Deputy Governor of the state. This governor then was a senator. They came in together, and the then government of the day did not want them in the state. Thugs were sent to the airport that shot at them to the extent that a police officer beside the now governor, then a senator, died. This governor was crying like a baby. You see, this governor was crying like a baby. And one thing he said he would do when he comes into office is to embattle thuggery and insecurity. Well, we are all seeing what's going on in Edo State now. This same governor that was crying like a baby when a police officer was murdered in cold blood just beside him is the one that is probably now encouraging thuggery. I'll say it again and again. Time will come when the people of Edo State will resist. The people of Nigeria will resist this level of miscreant and dictatorship.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. I wanted to ask one final question, and if you can answer in just 30 seconds before we go straight to the news. You now have a new acting IGP. The previous or outgone IGP did mention that there will be no protests, and he ensured that that wouldn't happen. It was effected. So he ensured that every protester was well managed, pushed to a particular area so that it doesn't escalate into any form of violence. What do you think about the new acting IGP? Do you think there will be changes and then people will be allowed to carry out their civil duties or rights?
I don't think there will be changes. They are all one and same, from Egbetekun to Olatunji. I don't know if the presidents have a problem with other tribes though, but I think they are all one and same. Just the way Amupitan is saying with Mahmoud Yakubu, let Nigerians not be deceived or distracted. I feel this is just a distraction. They are all one and same.
All right.
But Nigerians will continue to insist. Nigerians will continue to try. The only thing we have that we cannot give to them is hope. So every time you see someone bust up somewhere in one corner of the street protesting, it's not because that person cannot give up, it's because that person has refused to give up. And I'm using this medium to appeal to Nigerians not to give up. However, I'm aware, I know very well in my mind that major protest is coming. So this is a formal announcement to the government. If you keep doing the wrong things, at some point in time, everybody across the nation will be ignited same time. And that kind of protest, you cannot bust somewhere in the streets. It's happening soon.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Precious Oruche, also known as Mama P. Thanks for also giving us an insight into what happened at the
Governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, came under gun attack in Benin, Edo State, on Tuesday this week in the company of several chieftains of African Democratic Congress. As it turned out, no one was killed in the incident, which has again highlighted the menace of violence in Nigeria's political terrain, especially the devastating impact of such a scenario on the eve of a major election year. Opposition party leaders have condemned the Benin attack in strong terms, especially what they call the deafening silence on the matter from President Bola Tinubu and his government, given the extra efforts they are making to sell Nigeria's image as one founded on peace, unity and tranquility to the United States and the rest of the world. Rise News analyst Dayo Shibowale joins us now to discuss the warning by opposition party leaders and how the Tinubu government can proceed to build a culture of political tolerance ahead of the 2027 general elections. Mr. Shibowale, always a pleasure.
It's a pleasure having you here too.
All right. So you think by now political violence would have reduced to the barest minimum. And here we are again. And what do you think is motivating these attacks on Peter Obi? If you remember, not too long ago, even in Lagos, when one of the governorship aspirants then, Vivo, also was attacked in a similar fashion. Your thoughts?
Yes. I like the warning to government to intervene and arrest the spread of political violence. But then, let me first of all say that thuggery is part of our political culture. It's when it gets out of hand or some parties are on the receiving end that they shout aloud. But let nobody shout proof where there is none. You mentioned earlier that Obi was attacked earlier on. You get me? I won't answer the way Morihu answered about the racist attack of the Brazilian star. That why is it when he's around that things like that happen? That's a fallacy. I don't like it. But it is applicable in a way. Political thuggery is what we should be on the lookout for.
All right.
Most parties have thugs on their payroll who go about with them. But in the case of this Edo State issue, I have always known that Edo State politics is volatile and violent, especially where it concerns their monarch in Benin and their traditional system. They are very traditional people. But I condemn violence in all its ramifications. But what's the source of violence, like you asked? It is rhetoric. There be provocative rhetoric. Provocative, and I really mean provocative. When you know the sore point in an institution, in the person, then you start stabbing at that sore point, literally. It will bleed, and the person will react, because unless the party or the institution or individual wants to commit suicide. So that is the beginning of violence. So politicians should mind their language. They should mind their language. Not use rhetoric that will injure the feelings and the emotions of their opponents. They can afford to be objective, like we try to do here in analyzing issues. They can afford to do it. And they know the consequences of not doing it. And if they persist in violent rhetoric, verbiage, insolent language, condescending language, despicable, contemptuous language, they should be ready for the consequences of their action. Because human beings react to situations. Let them be prudent in the way they use language. Let me use a modern example. See Trump, when he addressed their own National Assembly, see the way he spoke to the Democrats. Say they are crazy people. You don't use such language. If those people come into power, they have said, they have vowed they will humiliate him publicly. If they have access to guns, you know what will happen. That's provocative. That's a classic case of provocative language. So have mutual respect for ourselves, for even government. Government is the whipping dog of all sorts of accusations in this country. But those saying that at government should know that the people in government who have emotions, they are human beings, and they have suffered, they are suffering. But they cannot go out of their in a democratic setting to use blind force to silence people. I always say that we have a robust democracy. That's why we hold things at each other. And we should not copy bad examples. Again, I go back to Trump. See the example he gave, that verbal violence, that if those who like America to look after legal citizens, as against those who think they should look after illegal citizens, that those who like looking after legal should stand up. Of course, the Democrats sat down. Get me? And they will use that as advertisement to say that they don't like the country. That's violent verbiage, violent, provocative language. Any political system should warn its political participants to desist from such dangerous rhetoric. It destabilizes the political system. Let's leave it at that.
Interesting. And to that point, Mr. Shobowale, I mean, when this happened, Peter Obi wrote about it on Twitter or on X, and he said, experiences of lawlessness are not new to me. I mean, should we be more surprised that we haven't heard this administration come out to publicly condemn it? Should they have done something as the ruling party or said something to condemn it?
I think it's not a government matter. It is a political campaign issue. Some of them say that it's a faction in ADC that are attacking the other faction. All these people are well versed in looking after themselves. And if you want to be bureaucratic now, or look at it administratively, Obi has been warned that he should let them know when it's coming. Out of respect, you could learn the word. Although if you say you want to go to the assembly, you say there is freedom of movement. If there is freedom of movement and you have a largely insecure situation, you are responsible for all the consequences of your own ignoring the protocol that put on the ground. I'm not condoning it, but if they tell you if you are coming to a place, let me know. Courtesy, prudence. In the case, you must oblige and not ignore them. And for people to blow it up, that even while they were there, they had some people who are coming to attack them. If you have some people who are coming to attack, why don't you flee? Flee or cancel the thing. Unless, of course, you think you have enough force to combat the intruders. Get me? All these are indications of violent dispositions on the part of government. You see, on the part of politicians. It's not the duty of government to control campaigns, to control political visits and all that. We have 36 governments. So how many will the federal government control? That's why we are a federation. Let everybody look after his own menu. Right, let's leave it at that.
Mr. Shobowale, briefly, and I think this should be the last one. How do we build political tolerance towards next year's election? Tolerance towards next year's election.
That's what I've just said. See, you control the language. You control the use of hate speech. You control the use of provocative language. And you don't gloat over failure of others. See, they do that mostly. See, in Nigeria, there's hardly in any of the split coalitions facing government now. There's hardly anyone you won't have people who have been in government before. There's always been PDP, APC. So they know the meaning of power. They know the meaning of tolerance. And they have been with each other. They are turncoats, most of them, crossing carpets here and there. So they know each other. So they should learn to respect their, how do I put it, their idiosyncrasies, if it is possible, because they know each other and tolerate each other, such that, see, at the end of the day, if the rhetoric gets violent and if they get violent, the army will intervene. And we all keep on saying that the worst democracy is still better than military rule. Let them have mutual respect for each other. Mutual respect for each other. As simple as that. And keep the rhetoric fine and gentlemanly if they can. That's all.
If they can, Mr. Dayo Shobowale, thank you very much for joining us on this topic on political violence.
Breaking of fast with senators at the presidential villa in Abuja on Wednesday. He described the move as urgent and asked lawmakers to amend the 1999 constitution to make it possible. Our State House correspondent Adesua Omoran reports.
Across Nigeria, terrorism, banditry, and insurgency continue to threaten communities. And since assuming office, President Tinubu has argued that federal policing alone cannot respond quickly enough to local threats. Just 48 hours ago, at a breaking of fast with governors, he reiterates his commitment to state police as part of his broader security agenda. Tonight, he takes the appeal straight to the 10th Senate during an interfaith breaking of fast.
Nigeria is extremely bigger, challenged. We are facing terrorism, banditry, insurgency, but you never fail to make a right response to this call. What I will ask for tonight is for you to start thinking how best to amend the Constitution to incorporate the state police to secure our country, take over our forests from marauders, free our children from fear.
The president also thanked lawmakers for backing his economic reforms, but urges them to rise above criticism and steer clear of political pitfalls.
All your support that I've enjoyed, I will promise that I will continue to enjoy it and will not take you for granted. While you are careful with banana peel too and being effective lawmakers, there's no time as it's better to express our gratitude to one another than this time. What they call you, any name, any nickname, critics must talk. When they accused me of killing opposition, I didn't have a gun. I could have given myself a license when I have the authority. But I can't blame anybody from jumping out of a sinking ship if they did.
Senate President praised Tinubu's leadership and offered prayers for continued peace and prosperity.
We are happy with you. We will continue to remain loyal. We will work with you for the good of this nation because we know you mean well. We are happy with you and we are full of prayers that under your leadership, this country will see peace. We are aware of the troubles going on and sponsored insecurity in parts of the country. And that is why the prayers of both the Muslims and the Christians are very important. And I do know that God sees our heart, and the prayers will be very potent at a time like this.
State police has again been put on the front burner. The real test now is what happens next. Adesua Omorwan, Arise News.
In other news, Tunji Disu has assumed duty as Nigeria's acting Inspector General of Police, pending confirmation by the Police Council and the Senate. At his decoration, President Bola Tinubu charged him to restore public confidence and strengthen discipline within the force. State House correspondent Adesua Moran reports that Disu's decoration comes as the country continues to grapple with banditry and other security threats.
At a critical moment for Nigeria's internal security, President Bola Tinubu has handed the baton of police leadership to Tunji Disu in acting capacity with a clear mandate to restore public confidence. The appointment is subject to ratification by the Nigeria Police Council and confirmation by the Senate.
I know your record. I believe in dedication that you've exhibited while you were in Lagos and I was the governor of Lagos State. And now you assume this responsibility at a defining moment for our nation's security and expect you to strengthen the discipline, enhance interagency collaboration, and restore public confidence in Nigerian police. Lead firmly but fairly, demand professionalism at every level, and ensure that safety of lives and property remains our highest priority.
The president expresses confidence in the acting Inspector General, urging him to strengthen discipline and advance the security pillars of the administration's Renewed Hope agenda.
Nigeria is challenged right now with banditry, terrorism, and all sorts of criminal activities. You've been part of the thinking, and you've been part of the innovation. The challenge, as you hold the pattern of this leadership, is the belief that you will excel.
He also paid tribute to outgoing IGP Egbetokun for his service.
We are a grateful nation to you for our dedication in service.
Disu describes the appointment as both an honor and a challenge, pledging a tougher stance on discipline and accountability within the force.
I'm going to ensure that I take their welfare into consideration because people who are motivated are putting their best. I will let them know that the area of impunity is over. I will ensure that I train them and encourage them to ensure they follow human rights. I will ensure that they know that I will try to follow a regime of zero tolerance to corruption.
Ekpetokun, who resigned 24 hours ago, citing family reasons, says his successor understands the task ahead. This appointment comes just weeks before his scheduled retirement in April, but under the amended Police Act, he could remain in office for a full 4-year tenure. The Nigeria Police Council is expected to meet next week to ratify the appointment. Adesua Omoruan, Arise News.
Thank you, Adesua. Well, the House of Representatives has been told that Nigeria is projecting a total revenue target of 40.7 trillion naira for 2026, following ongoing tax reforms. Executive Chairman of the National Revenue Service, Nigeria Revenue Service, Zach Adedeji, disclosed this when the President's Economic Team appeared before the House Committee on Appropriations to review the 2025 budget performance and outline projections for 2026. Adedeji said the service exceeded its 2025 revenue target of 25.2 trillion naira, collecting 28.23 trillion naira, driven largely by strong non-oil tax performance, which generated 21.46 trillion naira. Oil-related revenues, however, fell short of target by 5.2%. He added that revenue collections in 2025 were 6.5 trillion naira, higher than in 2024, representing a 30.3% increase. Lawmakers, however, raised concerns about the zero capital performance recorded in the 2025 budget. On his part, Budget and National Planning Minister Atiku Bagudu told the committee that 70% of the 2025 capital budget would be rolled over into 2026 to improve funding and implementation.
So for the year 2025, the revenue target for the service was 25.2 trillion naira, an increase of 3.5 trillion compared to actual revenue collected in 2024. The service has exceeded the 2025 target by collecting 28.23 trillion. This is due to exceptional performance from non-oil taxes, as shown in the table that I have here. The document will surely be distributed.
From November 2025, FGN revenue performance was approximately 60% prorated to 37.13 trillion. That's not as at September, as was reported by His Excellency Mr. President. The figures are updated now till November. And that was a shortfall on the budget. And that stemmed largely from underperformance of oil and gas revenue. On the expenditure side, year-to-date November, spending stands at 84.88%.
The 2026 budget, as far as we know from the Ministry of Budget and Budget Office, contain all those agreements that were that the executive side agreed with the National Assembly.
We decided to engage the economic team to Mr. President to discuss the previous performance of the 2025, as well as the proposed 2026 budget we have here before us. We also decided to engage the chairman of NRS to shed more light about the revenues in terms of the 2026 projections.
Moving on, suspected Boko Haram insurgents have overrun more than 3 communities in Madagali local government area of Adamawa state, sparking fresh fears among residents in the border region. The affected communities located in the hometown axis of Governor Amadou Fintiri came under attack in what was described as a coordinated assault late Tuesday night. Residents said that no fewer than 13 persons have been confirmed dead so far, while several others sustained injuries during the invasion. The attackers were said to have stormed the villages, shooting sporadically and forcing residents to flee into nearby bushes and neighboring settlements for safety. Madagali, a frontline local government area, has repeatedly witnessed insurgent attacks due to its proximity to the Sambisa Forest corridor and the Nigeria-Cameroon border. Many homes are reportedly deserted as panic gripped the communities. As of the time of filing the report, security authorities had not yet issued an official statement regarding the incident. Another day, another incident in Adamawa State. Rufai, your take on this story, and I must say, I said I was going to say this, your suit is giving me a number, but I know there's a story behind it. Yeah. Of course, amongst the other stories.
There's a story behind it, thank you. I mean, it's one of the people that have lost their sight that are in power. And I have a very close affinity for people that have lost their sight, empowering them, because in the tail end of my mom's years, she lost her sight. So, I mean, people that lost their sights, they mean a lot to me. So, but apart from that, apart from this insecurity case in Madagali, there is also a case that happened in Owo.
Yes.
Where people of CNS, I think the church was kidnapped. Yeah. There was also an incident where they were kidnapping on the road and people had to stop. So it shows you that you have full-blown state of insecurity in the country. And that's why President Tinubu, yes, in talking to the senators at the fasting breaking of fast, was talking about urging them to be able to move towards state police, which a lot of people have argued in support and all of that. And by the way, what President Tinubu was wearing was really looking lovely. I thought I was the only one that saw it. I mean, I liked the up and down he was wearing. But I have a problem with what the Senate President, Senator Akpabio, said. How can a Senate President in a democracy say we are loyal to the President? Does he understand what they call separation of powers? Does he understand it? I mean, who are these people that are leading us? Who are they really? That's why this morning I want to read from the Montesquieu that says, when the legislative and the executive powers are united in the same person or in the same body of magistrates, there can be no liberty. Because apprehensions may arise, lest the same monarch or senate should enact tyrannical laws to execute them in a tyrannical manner. And that's exactly what has happened to these senates. Yeah, President Tinubu was talking about calling them names. We will call them names. And by the way, he said other things about the economy stabilizing. The economy is not doing better, President Tinubu. An indication is, with all your revenue last year, you couldn't release money for contractors. You couldn't do projects. You are carrying over 70% of your capital expenditure from 2025 into 2026. And you're saying your economy is doing better. That's casino economy. But coming back to the Senate President, you can see what Montesquieu said there. And that's why we're having a lot of tyrannical laws. Yesterday, I was watching a video where Okoye, former INEC Education Commissioner and all of that, was talking about the fact that the argument made by the Senate was hogwash. That they've put every provision in place, that all the polling units they've mapped out, there is no one that does not have signals to be able to transmit election results. That they have done all the modeling. But the Senate and the House went ahead to enact tyrannical laws against the Nigerian people. And that's why in another intervention yesterday, Olisa Gbakoba was seen to be saying, go and pass the law to make it mandatory for electronic transmission. It goes back to what Montesquieu is saying here. Once you have two arms that are supposed to be separated in cahoots, the Senate President says loyal to the President, then it's problem for Nigerians. Because we can't get effectiveness. And with due respect, these Senates don't represent us. They're there to represent the interests of the President. That's why it's everything in the interest of the President they are doing. Let's call it spade a spade. This is a democracy, for Christ's sake. It's not an authoritarian government or a military government. How can the Senate President be coming up and be saying to us boldly, I'm loyal to the President, when you're supposed to be co-equal arms of government? What joke are we practicing here? Somebody wake me up from this nightmare. Secondly, I have a point. Secondly, as regards what was passed, yes, they are making projections, 40 trillion. Oh, we want to do 40 trillion. When we do the money, are they going to use it for the people? That's a question we should ask them. Are they? With the meeting of revenue target, over 28 trillion recorded, over 65% of our revenue target, we've met, non-oil, we did well, and all of that. What was the impact? It was Pablo Jasi. Budgets couldn't be funded for the Ministry of Health and all of that. And when these poor MDAs go to the Senate again, senators are still winking at them. What is happening in this country? Isn't that an indictment of this government that over 70% of its capital expenditure cost is passed to 2026 budgets? God knows that most of the capital expenditure cost too will also be passed further down the line to 2027. We say we are making revenue. People can't see it. It's a casino economy. Because a government that claims it's making revenue, it makes revenue from the fecundity of the economic activities, it makes revenue in taxation, and it uses the revenue back to the people. It's a cycle, it's a chain reaction. It's like your Krebs energy cycle. Let's call it spade a spade. We are in a democracy here. Somebody wake me up from this nightmare.
All right.
I give the floor.
Dr. Martin.
It seems to me that the appointment of the new Inspector General of Police is the biggest story on the table. First, let us congratulate AIG, now acting IGP Tunji Disu, on his choice. If you look at his profile, it looks like
exactly a round peg in a round hole. I think that's how they say it. He's been involved in admin. He's been involved in training. He's been involved in intelligence. He's been a DPO. He has been an intelligence officer within the police. He has seen action in Sudan. He's also been a commissioner of police. So he's a career officer who has been through the entire spectrum of police work. So this is a big achievement for him at a personal level, and I think that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has chosen well. He's a man that he knows very well. The same Tunji Disu, having worked with him, I think in Lagos, he worked in Lagos as a rapid response squad, special anti-robbery squad leader in Ondo State, and then IRT also in Lagos. So he comes to the job with very strong qualifications. So you cannot question his choice in terms of experience. Beyond that, however, it is also interesting that Egbetokun, who is the outgoing Inspector General of Police, says, well, this is a man who is a good choice. He has worked with him as a PSO, Principal Staff Officer. He worked with him also in Abuja in charge of the Special Protection Unit. I think they call it SPU. Under Egbetokun, he was also Commissioner of Police. This looks like a very smooth transition. But the more important thing is that the president says he should lead fairly and firmly, and that there is a lot is expected from him. Of course, he granted a press conference immediately after his decoration as acting Inspector General of Police, where he said that he was overwhelmed by emotions. Beyond that, in terms of his priorities, when he was asked, he said the citizen is the boss. That's an intelligent point to make, because we, the citizens of Nigeria, I think policemen need to know. They need to be reminded that the office of the citizen is the most powerful office. All those policemen having eyesight problems, looking for documents. When they see documents, they ask for power extinguisher. They've been told to leave VIPs alone and go and focus on policing. They don't want to go. Under this new IG, he is saying that impunity will not be tolerated. That's very important. He has told his men that under his watch, they must pay attention to human rights and respect human rights. But he has also told them that he will pay attention to their welfare, he will pay attention to training, and above all, he will do a good job. So I think all of that is perfectly in order. However, he is coming to the office at a time when there are not just expectations. Apart from congratulating him, I would like to congratulate his mother. When he was made acting Inspector General of Police, I think last year, he went and saluted his mother, and the mother returned the salute. One of the most popular videos in Nigeria. I want to see him by next week going to his mother to do the salute, because his mother's womb is one of those wombs we say are blessed. Even if as a father I'm jealous, it's always the mothers that children are always projecting. The mothers are the ones always taking all the credit. But, I would like to see that repeat video, because it is not easy. Finally, the police council is meeting next week. The Senate is going to also look at it. I think it's just procedural. The president is the chairman of the police council. It's very rare for the police council to go against the president. And the Senate, as Rufai was saying, says anything the president wants, we will do it. Well, the APC, which is the ruling party, has the majority in parliament. And you don't expect, even in the United States, they have that, you go with your party. Mm-hmm. Even in the US, which is not a parliamentary system. So there is that faithfulness, among the parties. That's why you have the opposition, the minority. The minority can have his say. So what do you expect Senate President Akpabio to say? To go against his own party, or to go against the president of the ruling party to which he belongs? Now, link that to the issue of state police. Now, state police, this matter has been on the table for a while. Last year, 36 states plus the FCT endorsed the idea of state police. Now, it's a surprise that we have not moved forward in that regard. But we need to move forward in that regard. And when the president had the breaking of fast, I think they call it iftar, earlier this week, right? I think, he reminded the state governors about the need for state police. And now a new IGP is coming in at a time he's talking about that. So already the IGP has his assignment cut out for him. However, the Senate will have to consider the executive bill that the president is hinting at. You can imagine that bill also will pass. But the relevant sections of the Constitution, sections 214, dealing with the establishment of the police, which says, only the federal government, there shall be only one police force in Nigeria. That will have to be amended. Now, section 215 deals with authority, administration, and which gives powers, almost absolute, to the Inspector General of Police, who takes his directives from the president. That also will have to be amended. And then you have section 216. So these are the relevant sections that have to be amended. As for revenue, now this government, is looking at revenue. That's why they've talked about sale of assets. That's why they say, for example, that they are taking another look at the tax laws so that we can modernize the taxation regime in Nigeria. That's why they have signed the executive order number 9, which says that NNPCL, will have to put everything in the Federation account in line with Section 162 of the 1999 Constitution. But the basic point that we can make here is that we have in the Nigeria Revenue Service a man who is very competent, and that's Zakadidiji. He's been Commissioner of Finance. He has shown great wisdom and competence in running, the Nigeria Revenue Service, as it is now known, formerly the FIRS. If anybody is in doubt, read the interview he granted recently in, I think this day newspaper, meeting with Guild of Editors, the editorial board of This Day Live. But the residual point is that Nigerians have expectations. It's not just enough to have a round peg in a round hole. It is for the people to see results, efficiency. And the basic point with all this revenue drive by the federal government, they even say external reserve is over 50 billion. It's for the people to see all of this translated into concrete results in their lives. They say inflation is down to 15.1% in January. The people must see the results. If we collect more revenue, whether it's 40 trillion or it's 50 trillion, we, the people of Nigeria, we want to have respite from deprivation, from poverty, from many schools are in poor condition in this country. We want to see the result in concrete terms. I want to leave home in the morning and not be afraid about where to go and buy fuel, because you go to some stations, they will price you very high. You have to look at where is the Dangote supported fuel station where I can get cheaper fuel, and not just cheaper fuel that will last the whole week and will not destroy the vehicle. We don't have to be subjected to such anxiety. Certainly not someone like me who has more important things to worry about.
All right. So obviously, Nigeria is on a revenue drive, and a key part of that would be the Nigeria Revenue Service led by Mr. Zakadidiji. He has stated the expectations as to their revenue target at 40.7 trillion, and that's good to hear. But as has already been established, a number of things that we must see is more transparency and accountability in how these funds are to be spent, and most importantly, that infrastructure that drives development and a conducive environment for businesses to thrive are some of the areas that we're looking at. Let's build our schools. Let's build our hospitals. Let's ensure these monies do not go into refurbishment of government houses and property or buying of new cars and planes, but let it actually go to the most in need in our society. That's the question. We want to hear these figures, these economic, wins, but the most important thing for the Nigerian people is how does this affect my daily life, and how is this making my life as a Nigerian better? That's what we want to hear. Those are the kind of things that we want to listen to, not just numbers being thrown out there, because if you're going to be taxed more because it means they're going to expand the tax net. We have seen some people based on their, last pay, how much money was deducted. It would make more sense in terms of a social contract to see that your tax is working for you. That's when making tax work, that's when it becomes more efficient and more believable. But let me go to the new Acting Inspector General of Police pending his ratification by the Nigerian Police Council and the Senate. I think it's almost it's good to say that he would probably scale through those based on his experience and, of course, the good relationship as emphasized by the Senate President between the Senate and the executive. But a few things, and Dr. Bate talked about his experience and what he brings to bear in this role, which the President also alluded to in welcoming him into this role. When he was head of IRS, in fact, his men were called the good guys, and they were said to be called the good guys because they went beyond the...
So guys, I'm quickly going to take you through some of the reactions coming from Nigerians after this Northerner says, if you don't want the Igbos, let them go. Northerners want Tinubu. If you don't want the Igbos, why hold them at ransom? Why hold Igbos at ransom? If we don't want them, let them go. Guys, now let me read out some of the reactions from Nigerians. This person says, yet they want the Igbos to join Nigeria's security services, and they want nnamdi Kanu and IPOB to stop agitating. Nigeria will never be good. Nigeria will definitely disintegrate into pieces. And this other person here said, there were once two countries named Yugoslavia and Czechoslovakia. And this person said, thank you. Another person here said, it's a political appointment. IG of police is appointed by the president, not by seniority entitlement. And let's be honest, once you get to AIG and DIG level, politics and trust may play a major role. Okay, politics and... Frank Mba was not even the most senior of the 7 DIGs. If seniority is argument, they aren't. Why aren't you crying for the actual most senior officers? Or is it just injustice when the person involves an Igbo? Okay. This other person here say, I didn't mention seniority anyway. Let's talk credibility. Okay. And then this other person here said, okay, how was he next in line? This person say, IGP, Kayode, okay, Inspector General of Police, okay, Petokun. The next person was supposed, okay, the next person is DIG Yaya S somebody. DIG, Department of Finance and Administration. Mba, DIG Mba is Department of Training and Development. And another person here is Adiola Hamzat, Department of Logistics. Another person, DIG Adebowale, Information and Communication Technology. Another one here. Okay, there are about 7 DIGs that were released of their positions so that Tinubu can find somebody he can trust. What are you showing? What are you showing? And this man says, bigotry should not blindfold you here. Would you have a DIG from the PR media arm of the force as IG or an AIG from operation? Also, with all the Southeast have done to Tinubu in his last year as president, would you trust anyone from that region? Be wise. Okay, that is what this person said, that with all that the Southeast has done to Tinubu. Guys, I don't know what the Southeast has done to Tinubu. Maybe they didn't vote for him. If not, is it the Southeast that say Remi Tinubu should be quiet? That's what a Muslim cleric said. They don't count all that. And this person said, but he can trust the Southeast for City Boy movement. I blame Obi Kubana and his useless friends, honestly. And this person here said, we must have our own sooner, our own country sooner or later. It will happen. This person said, cooperate, let's build Nigeria. And later on, we'll talk about separation. And this other person here says, I blame the Igbos who are still sentimentally attached to the contraption. They will learn the hard way. Obi will never be president. We will never. We all know that if all that they want to create is an illusion of an Igbo presidency, they will give it to Wike, Ikwere, or Okowa, and Nyoma. And this person name names. And this other person here said, let me add this to you. Some of his mates are still DCs and CPs. Tunji was there 1992 and he became 94. So how did he get to DIG before him? And this other person here said, Excellence, if he is the good, he graduated as the best cadet inspector during his time. Amongst the other beautiful achievements is the force forbidden from tapping into the mines of excellence. Why must we always choose the least when there is better, honestly? And this person say, we know, but it's just for a while. The revolution that will sweep the zoo off its feet is fast approaching. Nothing lasts forever. And this person calling Nigeria a zoo is what will delay your revolution. And this other person here says, Chinedu return the phone to the owner. No the disguise. Oh yeah, Chinedu. I don't know what that means. And then this other person here says, I believe if the next in line is from the north, this your useless analogy will not come up. For whatever it was, you guys should start playing all-inclusive politics so that one day you could attain that exalted position and do likewise, whether you believe it or not. I'm from the north, bro. Which language do you understand best so I can explain it to you? And this other person here say, seniority in the force is by enlistment date, not current rank. Disu was enlisted 2 years before Mba. Moreover, he's not next in line. There are other DIGs. And this other person here say, I read through the conversation here and I realized the owner of the write-up is senseless. There is no point dignifying him with counter response. Oh my God. The price of executing the first military coup in Nigeria and killing all officers of other tribes while living their own. Igbos are betrayers, but I'm in support of letting them go. Igbos are betrayers, but I'm in support of letting them go. Okay, and this other person here say, a northerner wrote that a Yoruba person was supposed to be installed. Yet, what of note that IBB didn't do this under duress, but compulsory, but have to drive evil to survive. 1999 coup was not an able coup. Okay, but a nationalistic, naive attempt to reform Nigeria. IBB asserts that plot was aimed at installing Chief Obafemi Awolowo as leader, involved a multi-ethnic team, and was in part foiled by an Igbo officer. Wow. Anyway, I don't know what you make of some of the reactions here coming from Nigerians. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you.